What's going on, Babylonians? My name is Songs of Raids and we're back with another Outriders video to bring to you, and today we're actually going to do another versus episode. The last one was the melee builds, finding out which version of the Devastator set bonus would be better for you, but this time we're going to be looking at two guns and we're going to mix it up a little bit. We're going to look at, the idea is that we're going to look at something that's very similar and then be able to compare them to find out which is better for certain type of builds. So today we're going to be looking at the Fatal Symbiont versus the Amber Vault, and the reason why these two are very similar is because of their tier 3 mods. They are also close range guns. They are designed for armor pierce and for close range damage, so they are designed for more your firepower devastators or your firepower technomancers to a certain extent, but we'll get into that in a bit. So the idea is that I'm going to give it a level playing field. They've got the exact same skill tree, they've got the exact same armor mods on as well. The only thing we've done is we've powered them both up to their full extent on their attributes, and then we just swapped them in and out for a different kind of a different map each time. So you'll see some gameplay that's in the background just to be able to relate to it, so you can see for yourself which are the guns and which one you prefer, and then we'll just look at the tier 3 mods. We'll find out what actually works in certain types of builds, and then at the end I'll decide which one is the better, which one is the king, and which one is your damage increasing tier 3 mod superior. It's at this point I'm going to ask you, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. It really does mean the world to us. We are still a fairly small channel and we'd love to be able to grow even bigger with your help, obviously. Did you know that currently 25.4% of you are currently subscribed to the channel? So it really would mean a lot to be able to just click that button. It is free, it is quick and easy, and it just means so much to us to be able to see your support. So we're going to start by looking at the Fatal Symbiont, and I'm pretty sure most of you out there already know what this does, but we're going to cover it ourselves anyway, just to give you a nice recap. So the idea with the Fatal Symbiont is it has Dark Sacrifice as a tier 3 mod, and this mod works by giving you a 75% weapon damage bonus at the cost of losing health to when you get to 50%. So over time you're going to be losing so much of your health, and in return you're just going to have a constant 75% damage bonus. Now this thing can't kill you. It will stop when it gets to 50%, but you will still receive that damage bonus, and that's why when you look at the weapon cards on certain guns, it's not a true reflection as to what damage you can actually output with this, because even though the Fatal Symbiont has its own separate damage number, then you've got to take into consideration what the actual tier 3 mod can do as well. And the Fatal Symbiont is pretty much widely known in the community as one of the best mods to be able to dismantle for, because for firepower builds, it is just it's almost untouchable, and the only thing that can come close is basically the competitor we're putting it up against, and they have their own drawbacks, they have their own positives as well. So with the Fatal Symbiont, that constant 75% damage bonus is huge. I can't state as to how good it is the fact that you don't have to worry about getting so many kills, you don't need to worry about finding any of the smaller enemies to be able to ramp up your damage. Now you've got mods like Sharp Eye and Bloodlust that are able to, when you get so many kills, obviously they work on a time cooldown as well, they increase your firepower, and obviously that then feeds back into your damage, and then obviously that's your DPS right there. So when it comes to like my firepower Technomancer, for example in the back, I've got both of those on, so once I've got 3 kills I'm at my max damage potential. Whereas when the Fatal Symbiont and the Dark Sacrifice mod, I'm already got a bonus there. I've already got that 75% extra damage. I don't need to worry about getting any kills or starting off on lower damage to then try and ramp myself up. I already have that as a standard, and then that little extra boost is kind of nice. Obviously, when we compare it to the fact that the Amber Vault has Killing Spree, and we'll touch on that in a second, you're going to be getting those 3 kills anyway. If anything, the only real benefit that the Dark Sacrifice can actually provide to you is that initial first few kills, and that's because when you've got 0 kills, you've got 75% weapon damage bonus over Killing Spree. When you get 1 kill, you've got 75% against 25%. When you get 2 kills, 75 against 50, and then obviously when you get to the 3 kills and any other kills that are after that, as long as you keep chaining them, you'll be on the exact same bonus. And then obviously Killing Spree's only downside is the fact that it kind of falls off over time, whereas the real kicker that you've got with Fatal Symbiont or Fatal Dark Sacrifice, especially when it gets put onto any of the other guns, is the fact that it will consistently drain your health. The main real drawback to this is when you're in fights and all that, and when you're killing things, you don't need to worry, because obviously there's the healing mechanics and everything like that, so you don't need to worry about that side. But when it comes to cutscenes especially, because cutscenes still roll the real world timer in the background, similar to like when you're doing expeditions, it still counts the seconds. The game doesn't stop. You're still considered to be in combat, and you will be drained of your health. You will start the fight with 50%, but you will still have that damage bonus. But then it's up to you to be able to start getting kills to be able to replenish your health from there. Now, this is trickier on classes that require kills, especially when because it's always the boss that has the cutscene around it, and then the smaller kind of enemies spawn a little bit after that. So you kind of need to defend yourself for the first, I don't know, 5 seconds until they spawn, to then try and get yourself some health or some armor, etc. But when the real winner that comes out of this is the Technomancer, because the Technomancer just has an innate healing just from doing damage whatsoever. So as soon as the fight starts, obviously the boss doesn't normally move for like the first second or so. You can activate things like Blighted Rounds to then just drill them with a few shots into their crit zone, and then that instantly fills your health back up to full. So as a Technomancer, the drawback's not necessarily there as much, because you will be consistently healing yourself up while you're doing the fight. But with the other classes, it is something to be mindful of, and the fact that you do actually need to be able to keep yourself sustained. So if we move swiftly over to the Amber Vault and Killing Spree, now this is also a really good mod. I got this before I got Fatal Symbiont. I got this to be able to use on my burst ARs, and to be fair, but the first time that I actually got a Fatal Symbiont and I dismantled for the mod wasn't working properly. All it did was just drain your health, and it wasn't until you were under a certain threshold that you actually got that damage bonus. They fixed that, and that's why Fatal Symbiont and Dark Sacrifice is in such high regard now in the community. But that's not to say that Killing Spree isn't just as good. You've got to weigh up the downsides with it, like I've mentioned. And the only one that you've got with Killing Spree is the fact that you don't start off with any kind of weapon damage bonus whatsoever when you first start, or after each of the cutscenes, because it will have worn off that by that point. And you've just got to essentially find a way to be able to ramp yourself up. So how I would, it kind of does it like a slightly different kind of gameplay mechanic between the two. So the idea is with Fatal Symbiont is that you can attack elites straight away. You can go out there, you can do as much damage as possible because you're already at that max damage. Whereas if you're using Amber Vault or you're using Killing Spree on your gun, you do need to find some smaller enemies, ones that are weak enough for you to be able to finish off, and then once you've got yourself ramped up, you can then go after the elites. But you do need to make sure that you keep an eye on the timer. Obviously there's no visual display on the screen or anything like that, so you kind of need to give yourself like either a reminder through your skills when they cool down, or you need to kind of keep an eye on like a running kind of countdown in your head as to when 10 seconds is up. Before the 10 seconds is up, you need to make sure you have another kill. Now, most of the time that's easy enough, because when you're at 75% weapon damage, most things will literally be melting in front of you if you've got your build spec'd up right. But obviously, if this is something that if you do start forgetting, you will start seeing your damage fall down, and obviously no one really wants to see that when it comes to a firepower build. In terms of main stats for the gun, there's not much that really differs them. They're both close range guns, they're both designed to be able to be up in your face, they both have armor pierce, and they both have close range damage. So in all real kind of aspects, they are basically the same kind of gun. Now, the only thing that you'll see that's real difference, the only major kind of thing, is the fact that the mag size on the Fatal Symbiont is 50, and the Amber Vault has got 60. So when only 10 rounds is not a major difference, but then obviously if you're going for firepower, most builds do actually spec into the extra 50% magazine capacity, and then you'll start seeing a difference of 15 rounds between the two, between the 75 and the 90 rounds respectively. So if you're looking for more sustained firepower over a longer period of time, then the Amber Vault is definitely better. But if you're looking for something that's a bit quicker to shoot, deals the DPS a little bit faster and gets it out a bit more, but has a slightly smaller mag, then obviously the Fatal Symbiont is your kind of best bet. Now, the last kind of category I really want to touch on is if we just compare the mods to each other. So if we take Dark Sacrifice and we take Killing Spree, which is the better one that's overall for you for your firepower build? Now, I personally would say this depends on the class that you're playing as, because Fatal or Dark Sacrifice can actually be a hindrance if you're playing on a class that kind of struggles to be able to kill fast enough. The reason why I say this is because I've tried doing Firepower Devastator with both mods, and the Dark Sacrifice, while it was amazing in terms of the damage that I was kind of benefiting from, it just something about it, because it wasn't killing fast enough for the innate healing ability of the Devastator to make it worth my while. I ended up dying more times because of the gun taking me down to 50%, and then every other enemy started smacking me around the place from there. Whereas if I'm playing as a Technomancer, I can offset the bad side of this, and I can just heal. I can out-heal it anytime that I need to. If I need to, I can also put Fixing Wave on with the Cycle mod and the health regen, and I can just activate a skill, and I never have to worry about any of my health disappearing for that as well. So I've also got that nice added bonus as a Technomancer as well. When it comes to Killing Spree, I would recommend this for firepower builds that aren't Technomancer. So if you're playing as a Trickster, Tricksters have high enough damage anyway. They are able to deal out such high damage, especially with pump shotguns, that they don't necessarily need the fact of their health being drained, because they are kind of on the squishy side most of the time. So they might as well just have the fact that they can ramp themselves up, and by the time they've got their Sharp Eye and their Bloodlust and then their Killing Spree, they can then go and tackle some of the elites. So personally, that's my choice on that. But Killing Spree is still good, but it's not as suited for the Technomancer, because it feels like you're doing a bit more man-managing. And what I mean by this is the fact that you can, with Dark Sacrifice, you can focus straight on the elites if you really, really want to, and then just kill some of the smaller boys to be able to replenish your ammo. Whereas if you're playing with Killing Spree, you kind of have to focus straight away on the smaller enemies to be able to ramp yourself up, to be able to keep your ammo there, then take on the elite, and then if you can't finish the elite off in enough of your bullets, then go back to some of the smaller boys to be able to, 1, replenish your ammo, and 2, replenish all your buffs that's coming on that build. So for ease of use, if you're playing as a Firepower Technomancer, I would highly recommend that you go for Dark Sacrifice over Killing Spree. But if you're playing as any other kind of Firepower build, unless you're looking for instant burst DPS, or you're looking for a way to increase the damage of your backup gun, that's something that you're not going to consistently hold in your hands, then I would say Killing Spree is better than Dark Sacrifice. So as you can see, it's just not as clear-cut as we initially thought as to choosing one over the other. Both are still good, both have their advantages, and both have their disadvantages. It's up to you to be able to decide what your class can do, how your class can handle it, and be able to take it from there. And that pretty much brings us to the end of the video. I hope you've enjoyed this little bit of a breakdown for the start of our Versus series. We will be doing some more. I'm going to be able to grab some footage, grab some notes, and be able to start making a little mini series together. So if you've got any kind of suggestions as to which ones you'd like us to compare, anything like that, feel free to drop that in the comment section down below. We always take every single idea. We quite happily have a talk about it and see if it's something that's viable for us, and if not, we'll quite happily let you know that it's not, or we're not interested. But at the end of the day, we're here to be able to take on any kind of ideas and to be able to listen to you that have paid attention to our videos. So I hope you've enjoyed, and I hope you've learned something useful with ourselves today. If you have, don't forget to drop us a like and a subscribe. It really does mean the world to us, like I mentioned at the start of the video. And as always, keep yourself safe, keep yourself well, and I'll see you all on that next video.